In the interest of time, we're going to go ahead and kind of start the program part, or the information sharing. Please keep eating, and do cut your meat without, losing your eyes on that, but pay attention to what our speakers are saying. From our library, sharing some information, and I believe they provided handouts. Lisa Dinkel and Maddie Tepper are going to share some good information.
Hi everyone. So I'm really excited to be here. This is my third month here. So really, I'm going to let Maddie talk to you all, but I do want to invite everyone, if you are around or not, just to reach out to us so we can help you with all your library services needs. Tomorrow, if you're around campus from 1 to 2:30, I will be hanging out in the library with Charles from Online Learning to answer any questions you have. But you can always email us too. Thank you.
And we're often around for questions, so not just tomorrow, just in general. But I know I see a lot of familiar faces, but for those who may not know me, I'm Maddie Tepper. I'm the instruction librarian here at NRCC. And so we provide a bunch of services that, yes, are for your students, but as instructors, and especially adjunct instructors, like y'all are taxed. I know you are. So there's a lot of resources that can put a little bit less stress on your plate, things that we can do for y'all, resources that we can provide for y'all that can take some of the pressure off instructing. So we offer a couple of different things. I'm able to do in-person instruction at both this campus and the Christiansburg campus. So if you're at Christiansburg, even though our library is housed here, that doesn't mean we can't come to you. And we do instruction on a bunch of different things, any part of the research process, from citations to finding sources to navigating databases. We've got stuff planned for all of that, so I can come to your class, or we also do online. If you're an online instructor too, I can either do, if it's synchronous, we can do a Zoom session. I've done that with a lot of our nursing folks. We also do custom videos for the assignment or databases that are most relevant to you and your subject and your courses. So we have all of that available. We also, on the library website, have research guides that have been revamped in the last year. So they provide a lot of guidance for students on, again, those steps of the research process. And those resources are embeddable in your Canvas course. They're always available on the library website. And there are direct walkthroughs for how to navigate those databases with screenshots and videos and things like that. So a lot of different modalities for every type of learning, essentially. So we have those. You can give them out as handouts, or, like I said, embed them in your Canvas course. I also offer one-on-one research assistance, again, over email, over Zoom, or in person. And so that's for your students and for you as well, if anybody is working on an advanced degree or just personal research, right? I'm also happy to help you find sources either for your own research or interests, or to help you find resources to use in your classroom. And if you're having trouble finding something, that's something I can help you with. We also have ILL. We have a really great ILL guy, and he does an excellent job of getting those resources that we may not already have in our collection. So we're always available at the library help email address at the end here, but I do want to highlight, if you want to request instruction, either in classroom or online or in the library itself, there's a little QR code up here as well as the URL, and that brings you right to the form to request those things. You can always email me as well, and that email is up on the corner there. So please don't be a stranger. Please reach out and use our services. But we'd love to see you tomorrow if you're around, or hopefully throughout the rest of the year as well. Thanks, y'all.
All right, I'm next on the agenda, and we were going to touch on some information about academic integrity. And I think, well, this is one that we're going to email to you. You will get a link. Part of this is going to tie into some discussion about using artificial intelligence in classes and how we're going to monitor that topic we're covering in a minute. But please know that the Academic Integrity Committee that is on campus is working to make sure that faculty, full-time and adjunct, are fully empowered to deal with issues of academic integrity in your class. That is your right, that is your responsibility. What we're trying to achieve with this academic integrity violations reporting form is to get a sense and to help guide students who may be bending the rules a little bit too much in multiple classes. And so we want to make sure that we can use the student code of conduct to give them their due process and to guide them to doing things the right way. So again, you have in the way you develop your course plan, the means to manage those violations in your classroom. But if you have a sense that a student is cheating in more classes, we provide this integrity violations reporting form that you can complete. That reporting form is available and visible only to the 3 academic deans, but then we can see if there are students who are doing the wrong things in multiple classes so that we can, again, use the student code of conduct, which is very educationally based, to give them guidance, but still to make sure that the integrity of the institution in granting credit is maintained. So we will be sending the link to that form out tomorrow or Friday. I also have the next item on the agenda, the safety training video and attestation form. And there is a handout. So there's information on required safety training. This is driven by state law, and it is mandated for in-person classes. So if you are teaching an in-person course, you will need to show this video, and again, we'll send the direct links out, but this is from the NR Ready. Open my, okay, we're back. The NR Ready website, and you will go down and there is the active threat training. Now I want to share it for those of you who have in-person classes. We want to make sure that before you show this video, you preface the information for students for whom this could be a traumatic event or experience, or provide some kind of trauma response so that if they need to, they can exit the class. We're not going to show the video, but you will be able to find that link under the active threat training. And I think it's 2 minutes and 39 seconds. And I'm going to go ahead and close that out. So the attestation form link will also be sent to you. I think we set it up for within the first 2 weeks of class. So as you're planning in-person classes, please make sure that you set aside time for that discussion and that video, and then completing that attestation form. If you don't do it in the first 2 weeks, it's likely you'll get a nagging email from me or Sarah or Helen. So anything else on that? Okay, Sarah's got the next topic.
And just, I do want to say something about that safety training. For those of you who are teaching an in-person course, we've added this information to the course plans that you receive. So if you don't see it there, let your dean know and we can help you get that updated on the course plan. But it is there on the course plan, so if you can just make sure that you show the video to students just in your in-person class, so we can comply with that new state law to make sure we have safety training for all of our on-campus students. And thanks to the folks here at New River who put that video together for us on such quick notice and turnaround. We appreciate that. So I've got the next couple items here. I want to give you some updates. First, I want to pause for a minute because I know we have some new adjunct faculty here. Welcome. And I know we have jumped right in talking about some new information or some new topics that we need to take care of for the coming academic year. And we might be throwing some things at you, like, I have no idea what they're talking about. Please do not worry. Your full-time faculty and your deans are here. We'll send so many emails and so many reminders to you. You're not going to get lost in the process. I promise. We'll keep you updated, and you're always welcome to reach out to us with any questions that you might have. And I also want for everyone, there is in your little packet with the agenda an important dates list, so you will see deadlines for the class surveys that we do for students to alert our student service advisors on how students are doing so they can help us connect students to resources. And you'll also see the IIWS deadline, so all of that's on that important dates document. And for those of you who are new, we will give you some support in learning those systems and what to do when those deadlines come around. So I just want to throw that in there because I'm looking at some new faces and I don't want you to feel any more overwhelmed than you probably do. Or to run out, right? Laura's right, we don't want you to run away. So we have the new academic integrity reporting form if you choose to use that as a faculty member. We have this safety training video, which is new, and we have some new resources available to you to help with your students' learning. One of those, and I'm very grateful, actually we have the two creators of the next resource, Tanner Linkus and Maddie Gallo, some of our adjunct English faculty who are here, and they worked this summer. We had I had, especially in A&S, but I think college-wide, and many of you may be able to support this. You may have seen it in your own classes. We've noticed students are struggling a little bit with their reading comprehension. They may have reading assignments or work to do that's text-based, and they go through it and they struggle a little bit comprehending or knowing how to study that material or read it actively for the purpose of doing well in a class or being able to apply that information. And it keeps coming up in various conversations. So we worked this summer on a video, and so thanks again to Maddie and Tanner, that leads students through some active reading skills and some study skills. It's about a 30-minute video. We're also working on some resources for faculty to support use of that. So thank you again to our Academic Success Center for that. That video has been uploaded to YouTube, so I will send you in our follow-up email tomorrow a link to that video. So if it's something that you wanted to even just embed in your Canvas class, your Canvas shell as a resource for students, maybe in an introductory model or module, or maybe in a resources module. It's just another resource that you can use to help students. It might be something you point them to if you have a suspicion that they're struggling a little bit with ways to study. So know that's available now, and we'll get that link to you. Okay, and then our next item here relates to recommendations we have on making a statement in your course syllabi about generative AI and the usage that you will allow in your class. And I'm going to let Lori talk about that. But I do want to say, I know many of you maybe watched the general session that we live stream on Monday, or there's a link to that out there. I think Peter Anderson sent some resources to the entire college related to that. But embedded in that recording of our general session, there's a presentation by Dale Pike, and he talks about AI and kind of where we're heading with that. So if you didn't see that and you have a little bit of time to watch that video, I think it might be worth your time. And I'll let Lori talk about implications for us in the classroom.
So, again, in your packet, there is a example statement, and I think that the VCCS and the college and individual departments and faculty have really come to the understanding that we need to address AI in the classroom, that we can't just pretend that it's not existing. One of the interesting facts that came out of the presentation was 80% of current college students are saying that they feel like their college is not preparing them for the world of AI. And so we have that responsibility, and we want to be able to manage it in terms of academic integrity and productivity, right? So where AI is going to help your students in some aspect of their curriculum or your course, or preparing for that profession, that it would be good to address. So in the packet is a sample statement that I think was VCCS driven. We have other statements that have been derived and adapted by faculty that they're using in their individual classes. As you're considering this, please connect with your faculty members if you want to see more samples or see what they're using in their specific courses. But it is not something that's going to go away. It's not something that we can't address in each and every one of our classes. And so this sample is a good guide to begin with, and if you want to be more expansive, there are plenty of other opportunities. Am I next? Nope. Thank you.
And with those AI statements, I think we get questions sometimes from faculty, like, what's the college policy on AI? And I appreciate that question, but you're not gonna get a one-size-fits-all answer from us, because it really depends on the course, what you're teaching, the level at which you're teaching the content, and what role AI can play, or maybe should not play at all in that course. So I think you're the experts in your fields and your disciplines, and you really need to kind of weigh that out. And again, if you're not really sure about that, your full-time faculty, I know, have been grappling with this issue, and they can give you some guidance on that. But I think it'll help if you have a statement that's kind of clear what your expectations are for students. Can they use it? Can they not use it? And those 3 statements kind of give you examples of what each of those positions could look like that you could communicate to your students. Speaking of AI, there is a tool that's available to you, your students, through a subscription we have with Turnitin, and it's called Draft Coach. And I will send you in our follow-up documents some information. It has a lot of links, so I couldn't make it a handout or pull it up. But Draft Coach is a tool that's embedded for all of our New River students in their Google Docs. So all of your students, through their My Accounts and their Google account with the VCCS, have a Google Docs account that's specific to them. And in that Google Docs program, they can enable a tool called Draft Coach, which will help them with any writing they might be doing for your class. So if you have any written responses, discussion board posts, essays, anything that might be happening in your class where students are having to write, there's a tool there that will help them write that. It's AI enabled, but it doesn't do the writing for them, and it doesn't do the corrections for them. It kind of coaches them through that process. So again, I'll send you the information. It may be something that you don't teach, but you just make available to students, help them know it's a resource that they can use if there are writing assignments in your course. Okay, Lori.
So nobody falls asleep or we're moving back and forth. So next is just a very brief request from the Center for Disability Services. As you all are aware, for students who have documented needs, they have accommodations, and those accommodations are facilitated through the Center for Disability Services. As they process those letters regarding accommodations for each individual student, they're sending them out. Please, please, please make sure that you are remembering what student and how to manage their accommodation in assignments, in testing, in class. And if you have any questions, contact the center and Lucy Howlett. It's in the advising center in Rooker Hall, and their website can connect you. But please make sure that you are managing those letters and those requests for those students that are registered. Back to you.
This is actually very exciting news. Last academic year, some of you received emails from me related to our new Center for Teaching, Learning, and Professional Development that we have on campus. Pat Huber, our president, has been supporting that and charged a group of us last fall with kind of figuring out what that would look like, what the structure would be. So a committee of us worked on that project all last year. Some of you may have contributed. We sent out a needs assessment to figure out what professional development needs you have or what you might be interested in. And we've been using that to develop some programming for the fall semester. So our Center for Teaching, Learning, Professional Development is up and running this fall. The advisory board, the committee working on the programming, met Monday. We've kind of finalized our list. It involves some common reading opportunities and professional development around AI to follow with our theme for this semester around AI. We have some computer usage. We have some tips coming out about work-life balance. We have what we're calling Tune-Up Tuesdays, where you'll be able to just join a live Zoom and listen if there's anything new from any units on the college that they may have to share. So lots of full-time faculty who are here, and folks have been, and Pam, I would need to pause and say that Pam has graciously agreed to coordinate that programming for us throughout the program's offerings, so we're really grateful to her. But be on the lookout. We'll be sending emails out about some of those opportunities. A lot of them will be offered multiple times, will be recorded. There's lots of ways for you to engage in those opportunities, and we'd love for our adjunct faculty to feel like they're a part of that, because you are a part of that. And if you have specific needs that you think maybe we're not addressing, and you would like that, maybe specifically for you as an adjunct faculty, please reach out to me or to Pam Hanks or your dean, and we'll see what we can do to connect you with resources or get some programming in place. So that's, I think, a very exciting development for the college. I'm going to pause there before we go into some quick reminders and see, that's a lot of, I think, new information that's happening for you as instructors. Is there any questions about any of that Lori or I or Helen can answer? All right, well, you all absorbed that very well. Somebody threw that all at me. I'd have all kinds of questions. We're around if you have questions and you're just like, there's no way I'm asking in front of everyone. We'll be around to help you out. Some quick reminders for you as we wrap things up. You should have a course plan, either depending on the modality you're using. If you're teaching an online class, Charles Black has sent those to you to be updated. If you have an in-person class, your full-time faculty should have those course plans to give you. Just make sure you've got a copy of that. The students get a copy of that. Along with that, you'll see a general health guidelines and student expectations document. We've been sending those out since the pandemic, along with our course plans, so make sure that gets to your students. It has some links to the health department in Virginia, local health department, related to any kind of health guidelines students may need. So make sure they get that information. And then, as always, if you have syllabi or course addendums, anything that you're giving to your students about policy along with the course plan, make sure that gets to the division office of your discipline so we can keep that on file. You'd be surprised how many times we need to give those to somebody for some reason. So please get those to your division office by the end of the first week. Some of you have the great pleasure of having some dual enrolled parents who might be reaching out to you about a class you're teaching. Even if it's not a dual enrolled class, they want to know if their dual enrolled student can enter it. Or you've got a high school student who's enrolled in your class as a directly enrolled student. And it's a wonderful opportunity for these high school students, but oftentimes parents have a lot of questions and are very involved in their child's educational journey. And I just want to remind you that even if they're a high school student, if they are in one of our college classes, FERPA applies to them just like it does to any of our other college students. So just kind of be mindful of that as you're and if a mom or a parent reaches out and wants to know how their kid's doing and if you can help them with information, you really need to make that referral to your dean or to Tammy Smith in our admissions office so we can make sure that the appropriate protocol for FERPA is followed, okay? And just a general reminder, I know we all do the FERPA training through the, right, Brian? And what's that called? The FERPA, is that in the global? Yes, so I know we do our training and we have that little FERPA piece in there, but we do have to be careful with what information we give about our students to any third parties. We really cannot do that without permission or the right protocol. And again, Tammy Smith is our FERPA expert on campus, so she can help you if you have questions about that. And again, feel free to reach out to your deans. Okay. I think for me, I think you got the rest. You're supposed to do FERPA.
I know.
I stole you were supposed to do FERPA.
But you did FERPA, so the rest says Sarah, doesn't it?
No.
So,
Want me to do the rest?
S is for Sarah.
Okay. Just a reminder, this is a little bit different from the last couple of fall semesters. For a while, the college was closed on Election Day, once that became a recognized state holiday. I'm not going to get into the whole complicated history. Stacy can probably help us, but we ran out of those free holidays, so we can't really use that as a holiday anymore. We have to bank that so the college can be closed around the winter break, or between the Christmas holiday and New Year's. So we are now open again on Election Day as a college, so that is an instructional day. So if you're updating syllabi and materials and you had that we were closed last year on Election Day, surprise, we're not closed this year on Election Day, so you need to kind of think about that. if you have concerns about students being able to vote, talk to your dean. There's, you can come up with some alternative ways to handle that day if you want to make sure students have access and yourself has access to voting. Just kind of handle that with your dean. I know. You're trying to give me all of yours. I'm just going to keep going. Brian, and I'm going to blame Brian Bowling because he's here as an adjunct faculty. Brian, this is all your fault. We have some new computers and some new login requirements. If any of you have not tried to log into your Microsoft accounts as a New River or VCCS employee, have fun when the first time that you do that. There are some new, I'm not making fun, but there are some new multi-factor authentication rules in place for our Microsoft accounts. So when you log into the network on campus, you might be okay, but when you try to go through the web to get into Microsoft, you're gonna have to authenticate. Brian sent out some helpful information about that. I think the bottom line is if you run into problems and that doesn't make sense to you, you can't find the apps and all that you need to get logged in, call 4400 and our wonderful tech support folks will help you through that process. So know that. If you're teaching in person, there were some updates to computers, some new computers on campus over the summer, so it may take a little longer than usual to get going that first day. So you might give yourself a couple extra minutes to get set up if you're using the computer in class on the first day. You want to go to the last ones? You do the rest.
I can't tell this now. All right, so I'm going to put my glasses on and not try to read from further away. A couple other quick little reminders. If students are not on your roster in the second week of class, they shouldn't be attending class. So at that point, if they are still working through financial aid and they're being dropped and re-added and dropped and re-added, after 2 weeks, they need to not be on the roster. So, and if they're still saying that they're working with financial aid, send them to their student services advisor, but please pay attention to that. And then the final official item is, and Sarah mentioned that Rick Matry is taking directory photos. If you would please take the time to make sure that in your account in SIS, your personal information, and in the directory, the information is updated and correct. And I'll use the cell phone example, which is not displayed on the directory, but when the deans have to remind you about IIWS deadlines, and it's moments before the deadline, texting kind of gets all of us moving. So just please make sure your directory information, and if you've moved and anybody still gets a mailed paycheck, then Stacy probably needs to know where to mail things to you. So take that time if you could, please. Anything else for the group? We've got the time. I think there's some additional food. If somebody needs seconds or more cake, please take this time to talk with your full-time faculty. Make sure everybody's singing from the same songbook. And again, thank you for instructing students the way you do and carrying out the mission of the college. We really could not make this thing move without adjunct faculty. So thank you again. Have a lovely evening and a tremendous semester. We're here and we're going to be sending emails.
And give yourselves a round of applause for all your great work.
All right. Sorry about that. I thought there was LSSLL back. Yeah.
I'll just make stuff up and
We're
keep
good.
going anytime.
That's the good thing about being able to